Yeah, let's start with male loneliness. I think that's a good place to start. Get people caught up. Get get their attention.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think this came up because I asked you how many close friends you had, and it was because I was doing this research project on an article, and research, but not research in this group because clearly this group didn't comply with what I was finding. But most research shows that men today, 27% of men today, can only name 6 close friends. Back in 30 years ago, I think it was 55% of men had 6 or more close friends. 15% of men today say they have 0 close friends, and that's a 500% increase in, I think it's the past 30 years, which is crazy.
I have 2 questions off the bat.
Yes.
What is a close friend?
Well, we already defined that.
Yes.
Well, hold on, stop. No, we can get to that in a second. Let's stop it. Slow down. What in these researchers, they're saying, okay, they can hardly guys today can hardly name 6 close friends, right? They have a definition for that, right? Or is it just based on how you feel? Like, I feel like this guy's a close friend, I'll include him.
Well, I mean, I think that's how else do you determine a close friend if it's not how you feel? I think it's a subjective answer.
We came up with a litmus test.
Right, but it's a subjective answer because some people have close friends who they believe are close friends, but would never even think of hiding a body for them. So it just depends on what you consider a close friend.
I think hiding a body, that's a fun litmus test, right? How many people can you rely on? Hey, for whatever reason, let's say it doesn't have to be nefarious. Hey, I got a dead body in my house and I need you to help me bury it.
It doesn't have to be nefarious. Hey, I have a dead body.
Accidents happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Accidents happen, and I don't know, maybe you're getting a background check by the FBI. Who knows, right? And you really want that job at the NSA. I guess, right? Why else would you not want people to know that's not nefarious? I don't fucking know, man.
I can't think of one reason.
But one reason why a person would die in your house and it would not be nefarious?
No, that you would then need to hide it. I mean, if it's not nefarious, then call. Actually, there have been too many movies about someone dying somewhere in a not nefarious way, and then you call the police, and now you're framed for a murder.
This looks like you did it, Charles.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give that to you.
You're holding a knife, and they slip, and the knife goes straight into their heart.
I wasn't thinking about that way, but I think there are other ways.
You didn't put up a floor is wet sign, right? And they slip, and the knife goes straight into the heart. They're dead.
It's the end of it.
You didn't do it. It's not nefarious. It was an accident. Who are you going to call?
Not Ghostbusters.
You're not going to call the police?
Yeah. Call them the 6 close friends, apparently. Get them to do something.
What are the implications of this?
Death.
What?
I mean, truly,
yeah.
when you boil it down, it's so kind of the point of the research is, what comes from not having close friends, which then leads to loneliness and isolation, which then can lead to high stress, which then could lead to cardiovascular irregularities, which could lead to strokes. And so you do see a lot this kind of long form connection between loneliness and self-isolation and all death by all forms, all mortalities. And also, I mean, in the big one, suicide. I mean, suicide is obviously the biggest one. One of the stats I was looking at the other day when I was working on this was suicide among men is, I think it's 80% higher than it's either 40 to 80% higher. So men make up 49% of the population, but 80% of the suicides. And suicides are higher among men who have no known history of mental illness, which indicates that it's higher among men who are not being treated for any sort of mental illness. And so, I mean, it can lead to a lot of negative things.
Drug abuse. Yeah, drug abuse. Yeah, lots of things. It seems to me that there's a simple and elegant solution here to the problem.
Do tell.
Before I get to my solution, is it age specific? Are we talking about 20 to 30-year-olds, or are we talking about?
It kind of said adult age, and it ranged from 18 to 49. But then it also said that men above 49, and specifically in that retirement age, have an even bigger epidemic of it, and they're trying to find ways to combat it. So it's really just kind of all men after they leave protective social institutions that would encourage friendships. So anytime after college, really.
We just need to take the screens away.
I don't disagree. I think that's a big problem.
How on earth is this podcast going to be successful if we take screens away?
It's true.
The follow-up question is, Brad, how many men have to die for this podcast to be successful? And the answer is all of them.
Well, I say it tongue in cheek, but I think that I don't know the answer, but my intuition tells me that most of the drivers of this are video games, social media, porn, all the things that they're consuming on screens that mirror probably personal connection or intimate relationships, but aren't them. Right. And that's what's driving the loneliness, because they're, online playing video games. No judgment. But if you're online playing video games, you call those people your friends. They're not, you play video games with them. They're not really your friends. Or porn obviously gives the illusion of intimacy or a sexual relationship. And then social media, the same thing. Whereas when we were boys, we didn't have that stuff. And we were just like running around with our neighborhood friends, right?
Get outside and don't come home till the street lights come on.
Right.
Yeah, we didn't have obviously we had to improvise. We didn't have a million different shows and movies to watch at our fingertips with no commercial breaks. We had to actually, find a stick outside and, see, like, pretend sword fight or whatever the hell we did. Mm-hmm. Right. But I don't know that it's the screens certainly don't help. I don't know. We have screens and we have friends, right? Is it age related? Is how you're raised?
No, it says that. So it said that boys and girls maintain friendships at the same rate at a young age. When you're in these protective social institutions, school, sports, things like that. Then afterwards, you start to see this big divide where girls who become women maintain those friendships at a higher rate than boys as they transition into men. They start, because they don't invest as much in these friendships. I don't know why you keep looking and what's going through your mind.
I'm wondering about what about the boys that transition into women.
But the other thing that they do say is that when you look at things like the decline in church participation, people use church as social institutions to make friendships. The later age at which people are getting married, they pointed specifically to the fact that guys who are married and have families will typically either benefit from the wife's social structure as she builds it out, or just their family will be the social structure, whereas women will still kind of build those. And so getting married later delays that social structure, or if they get divorced or the woman dies, they kind of just lose their entire social structure. And so there are so many different reasons, I think, that are speculated. And I think they're all true in their own different ways.
That seems like a downstream consequence to me, but maybe I'm just being stubborn, because these social behaviors that are playing out in early adulthood, they probably stem from development, right? They didn't develop those skills of building bonds with friends and like how to do that. And we've seen, I don't know. I read the book Coddling the American Mind by Jonathan Haidt. It's about social media. It's a great book.
It is.
I try to get my, it's about women more than men. And it draws a direct correlation between the onset of social media and the mental condition and state of American women. So I would think that this is probably just the consequence on the male side of similar dynamics, but I'm not an expert, so I don't know.
Well, some of the research shows that women will women's relationships are built more around kind of emotional aspects and kind of bonding in that sense, where a lot of guys have their relationships built on more transactional things, whereas like, oh, let's go fix this car together. Let's go hiking. Let's go shooting. Let's go do these things. And because of that, because of that transactional aspect, they more infrequently will just pick up the phone and call their friend, have an hour-long conversation, or have a long text conversation, whereas women will, and they'll kind of keep those bonds as strong. Now, I know that we're all outliers. Like, I have friends who I talk to regularly, like my best friend Aleko, I'm his kid's godfather. I FaceTime them like 3 times a week or something, but that's, I think, a little bit of an outlier. And so, but yeah, so they kind of intentionally invest more in maintaining those friendships, whereas I don't think we see that on the flip side.
Will AI replace friends?
Yes,
probably for some. Yeah,
What?
I think we've seen
Movies?
games and movies and all this stuff already start to replace friends, and so I wouldn't be surprised if AI
girlfriends.
I think I know Michael's answer to this is that predictive programming.
Predictive programming?
Yeah. AI girlfriends, AI friends in movies and games. Do you think that's predictive programming?
I don't understand the question.
What? How are you not? How do we even talk to you about conspiracies and what's really going on behind the scenes? You don't know what predictive programming is, Michael.
Mm-mm.
Oh my God.
I try to keep up, there's a lot of information.
I think you probably know what it is.
Okay.
Just you may not know the term, but they would put in this scenario, they're putting AI girlfriends in movies and video games, and they're getting people used to the idea of that happening in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think with 9/11, there was, predictive programming, heavy air quotes, and the X-Files about the Twin Towers, right? And X-Files could be predictive programming for aliens. They're predicting it's a kooky thing, right? And so when the aliens come up, right, they think, oh, you're just an X-Files freak. What are you talking about? It's a lot of information, right?
Yeah, you're talking about Project Mockingbird.
Well, that Project Mockingbird, I'm sure has, plays a part in it, but predictive programming is getting people, it's like all this talk about the Netflix movies. What's the one with the Obamas? We talked about it last week. What's it called again?
Get away.
Get out of here.
Leave the world behind.
Leave the world behind. I was close enough. Get out of here. Talking about cyber attacks. Could be predictive programming for a cyber attack. Right? Yeah. And there's one about Civil War coming out next year or something like that.
It's true. Yeah. Well, maybe that's true. I just think the logical consequence or the logical next step sequence to the male loneliness epidemic is they're going to seek out easy companionship. And if there's AI opportunity, I know I was listening to a podcast the other day. There's already AI girlfriends out in the world. It reminds me of that movie. What was it called? It was Gosling, Lars something. He gets a blow up doll as a girlfriend. He's like taking it around to his family and showing it off. Like that's where.
Can you hear that?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's where this.
I know why that. Well, I know why it happened because it came through on my computer too.
It seems that's where this is going to go.
Wouldn't be surprised. We're heading down that way fast. You got those
that was
VR
my
glasses things. Yeah.
Are those do people use those? I don't think so. That was my AI girlfriend.
They're not as expensive as I was looking the other day. They're not as expensive as I thought they were. I mean, they're like $500, which is, not exactly cheap, but I thought those things were like $3,000 or something.
The Apple ones are expensive, I thought.
Oh, are they? I don't know what brand I was looking at. I just kind of Googled because I was curious.
Well, anyhow, let's move on.
Yes.
I think we've beaten this dead horse.
Ain't that the truth?
Ain't that the truth? All right.